Hi, welcome back. We are doing another episode of Gay Bible Study. Today we're going through Genesis chapter 7 through 9, which covers Noah getting on the ark with the animals and getting off, and then getting kind of like sexually assaulted by his son, Ham, which we get into. It's wild. Also, there's like major inconsistencies in the telling of this story. Like Genesis chapter 7 and 8 tell a totally different story of the animals on the ark, which is very interesting. Also, we started a new segment in the interview episodes where people confess weird religious experiences they've had. So if you have any weird Bible study or like church or whatever experiences, email them to our email address ongodthepod@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy the episode. Please watch on YouTube and comment and let me know anything you want us to do differently, but be nice or don't. Thanks.
On God,
the world's holiest podcast.
I think I made a note of this earlier because I think in the last episode I said something about this oh my God, I just had a stroke about Seti, the pharaoh, living till he was in his 90s. That wasn't true. His son Ramses II lived to his 90s. I don't know if this is even relevant for anybody. I just wanted to correct anything I said that was
You
wrong.
want this to be part of the episode?
It doesn't have to be. I'm just saying it can be. But I did misspeak. I did misspeak.
Thank God you clarified
Top
that.
of the episode.
People were
Corrections.
people were really upset. I need to go through and read the YouTube comments. Do I?
No. I mean, like some of them. Look, I think there's people who are loving it, and then there's always people. Any topic, they say not to talk about politics or religion, right? And we are talking about essentially. I thought the funniest one was there was multiple people who were like, "Gay Bible study? That's an oxymoron." And there was a couple I was like, "How?" Because I wanted them to explain how it's an oxymoron to them. Yeah. And that's that's okay.
Oh my God, I love the controversy. That's fun.
All are welcome here. All are welcome here. I said, just keep tuning in.
Yeah.
Just keep tuning in.
Damn, they got our ass.
Well, it's not
Gay Bible study? That's an oxymoron. Well, we're not going to recover from that.
And I said, well, if you're writing this while you're wearing multiple mixed fabrics, then that's also an oxymoron. So if you want to use that logic.
Wow.
No, did it. All are welcome. It's all like good vibes. It's just, we're just exploring again,
Yeah, there's no bad intention here. Although the road to hell was paved with good intentions.
I love the Bible. I love the history around it. I love any religious history. I think is important for us to explore, like as human beings. And I think it's stood the test of time for a long time for a reason. Certainly problematic in its own ways. But again, it's a mix of books and letters that all have a history behind them. And I think we're exploring that.
I think it's fascinating. And as I was reading the Bible, I think it's so funny that I'm reading the Bible again.
I love it.
But I think it's good. Like I am allowing myself to read this and not just glance over stuff that I overlooked for so long.
For sure.
And anytime there's a hiccup, instead of being scared to ask a question, I can just go like, what did they mean by that? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm having a different experience.
I love that. Well, real quick, before we get into this section, I just wanted to summarize, because I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but the Epic of Gilgamesh. Are you checking your time again?
I just wanted to see where we're at.
Anytime I do a monologue, he goes.
What about the Epic of Gilgamesh?
It's a brief summary.
Why are you bringing this up?
Because we're about to read. This is what this.
No. I'm asking genuinely, why are you bringing up the Epic of Gilgamesh?
Because
Did we read about Gilgamesh last time?
I've mentioned Gilgamesh. So the Epic of Gilgamesh is basically the flood story that predates this one. So this flood story is based on the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Okay, and that seems like it is maybe controversial to say that.
I mean, it's history. Like it's a pretty.
So there was already a writing called the Epic of Gilgamesh, where they have a flood story where someone builds a boat and everything gets destroyed, and that predates the story of Noah.
Exactly.
How long does it predate the story of Noah?
Like by quite a lot. I'll clarify that.
Can I just should we summarize what we're about to read?
Yeah. Or you're kind of going through each chapter, right?
Well, yeah. Just an overview of today's episode. We're just doing chapters Genesis 7, 8, and 9, which really kind of perfectly encapsulates the beginning of the flood of Noah's Ark and then the end of it. And it kind of wraps up perfectly. So that's what we're covering today. So you want to talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
So it's about 1,500 years older
than Noah?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
When was Noah?
I don't have every date. Some of these dates I have in my notes, but we got to like do it as we go. But I just wanted, before we get into this part of the story, I just wanted to say, so in Gilgamesh, it's because it's not an exact story, but in the story of Gilgamesh, it's devastated by his friend Enkidu passes away. He had set for him to I won't read all that. So basically, there's a flood survivor, and in this epic, he goes and he meets the flood survivor, and the flood survivor tells him the story. And it's like, you know how they send out. I have references as we go, so we can just go.
I'm sorry. The Epic of Gilgamesh. There was a flood. And you're saying someone survived the flood?
Well, almost every ancient culture has a flood myth story. So there's others that predate this as well. But the Epic of Gilgamesh is probably the most well-known. It's the earliest writing that we have ever of anything.
The Epic of Gilgamesh?
It's the earliest story we have of anything. Yeah.
Why am I so dumb?
You're not dumb. It's just I
don't know
autistic.
this. Do you know this, Anya?
No, I didn't know that.
But it's the earliest story we have written ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost said in the English language.
It's not in the English language.
Going to be really bad. Okay.
That's okay. But go ahead and get started, and then because I have little references to that flood myth story. Yeah.
Wait, can I ask, is it like the earliest writing that we have, or the earliest like story?
It's the earliest story. So in the same culture we have, and in ancient Sumer, we have other writing that's like records of like, we have 20 pieces of grain or, whatever. There's writing before, but this is really the first story. It's the first religious text written down. First.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
The Epic of Gilgamesh. I cannot speak today. Sorry.
That's okay. God will speak through you. Well, we sit here with the sword of the Spirit, the Holy Bible, and with a new lens, I am reading Genesis chapter 7. And welcome to Gay Bible Study.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in his generation. Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens, also male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground." And Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him.
Can we pause right there real quick?
Yeah.
Just to reference back, I just want to point this out. Look at, go back to chapter 6 for a second.
Chapter 6?
Yeah. So
verse what?
There's multiple contradictions in between 6 and 7. So do you remember between like Genesis 1 and 2 how the creation stories are different?
Yeah.
The same thing happens here where you have, I think they call it, there's the J version and the G version. So they think it's 2 different authors. So if you look at, so open here because if you look at 6:19 through 20, chapter 6:19 through 20, real quick, and read that.
6:19 through 20, and of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds according to their kinds, and of the animals according to their kinds, of every creeping thing.
Okay,
of the
so
ground.
2 of every kind. Now go back and read chapter 7, 2 through 3 again.
Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heaven. I was wondering when I was reading this.
It's different.
You're like,
it's different.
You're like 2 is different than 7.
Exactly, 2 is different.
Yeah,
than
but
7.
I was wondering when I was reading this, and I was like, wait, we know the story of Noah and the ark, that he took 1 male and 1 female, and this is saying he took 7 pairs of all of them. But it is weird. It's literally within like just sentences of each other that it directly contradicts itself.
Right.
Why do people never talk about this?
Well, because
I was thinking when I read this that it was, there's a plant falling.
God.
God is like, I did not contradict myself. You're fine. Damn, that was going to be a fire clip.
I love that. I love it falling.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
But yeah, so they gotta plug the plant back in.
We got to keep it 100 here. All right.
All right, back it up a little bit.
So regarding the Epic of Gilgamesh, they think one of those authors is basing it more directly on that story, and one of them is, but yeah, there's a G author and a J author.
So similar to Genesis chapter 1 and 2, how they're very different creation accounts. In Genesis chapter 6 and chapter 7, the story of Noah and the ark is already two very different accounts.
It's actually even far more different than Genesis 1 and 2. So we got to keep going. Because
what is interesting is that they're giving us very specific details that contradict each other.
Correct. Yeah.
So Genesis chapter 6 says that, as we all know, Noah brought 2 animals of each kind, a male and a female. And then you go to Genesis chapter 7 and it says in verse 3, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens. And then it says, take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean. So it specifically says pair, like just 2 of each in Genesis chapter 6. And then Genesis chapter 7, it says 7 of each.
Correct. Yeah. And yeah, and then you mentioned the water, where the water comes from. In J's flood, it's 40 days of rain, which is, and then, I'm sorry, I said J and G. It's J and P, I think is what scholars call it, J and P.
Okay.
So in P's version, the flood is basically like a cosmic plumbing issue, essentially, because that's the whole idea. Like we talked to a lot of flat earthers talking about like the dome, the collapse of the dome, and some people say that's why people lived longer then.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting. So there was like this idea, I never made that connection, this idea that there is like a canopy, like a natural moisturizer that everyone is like using on Earth, and that's why they're living for 1,000 years.
Well, that's what some people think, yeah.
There's something like a layer that's covering like the ozone.
Right.
And so in the J version, they're saying the canopy kind of explodes, and that's what caused the flood.
Right. The there's a specific word used for it that we might cross it in a minute, but
it's so funny that they would use such specific terms in stories right next to each other and people aren't questioning it.
Yeah. I mean, well,
but I guess they are questioning
it.
it right now.
Yeah.
We're the first people to ever question it.
Scholars question it for sure.
Okay. So verse 6, chapter 7, Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went with him into the ark to escape the waters of the flood, of clean animals and of animals that are not clean, and of birds and of everything that creeps on the ground. 2 and 2, male and female, went into the ark with Noah as God had commanded Noah, and after 7 days the waters of the flood came upon the earth. Okay, so then again, it's saying that the animals came in pairs.
Right.
Which, I guess, to give them credit, it could be 7 pairs.
Yeah, I mean, one, they say two pairs of each, or one pair of each, and then the other one is 7 pairs of each. So they like pairs. Not the fruit. But
and this number 7, it's like very clear why that is like a holy number because it's
sure.
used so much.
For sure.
Okay.
Sure.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, this is so funny how much it talks about how old Noah was, but I guess it's to keep a record of time, maybe?
Yeah. Well, also, he's the last one to live to this age because after the flood.
Oh, okay, because the moisturizer canopy is gone.
Right.
Yeah, it literally says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all of the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were open, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark. They and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to their kinds, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its winged creature. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which there was the breath of life. And those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. So God closed the door of the ark.
Right. But let's is that the end of chapter 7?
There's like another paragraph, but you can cut me off.
Well, no, I was just going to say, because I think like 8 and 9, there's even more to talk about. Because, yeah, I mean, but you can keep going. If you want to talk more about 7, go ahead.
Sure, I'll just finish this.
Yeah.
The flood continued 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and increasingly greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed above, there's a lot of prevailing going on. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. Again, with the specificity. And all the flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, and all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left and those who were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed on the earth for 150 days.
Right. It only rained for 40, but then the waters remained for 150. And yeah, he really wanted to blot him out. And again, to reference the Epic of Gilgamesh, I do find it funny because at least in this version, they're like sinful. And the Epic of Gilgamesh, the reason that the gods to flood the earth is because they're too noisy. That the people are too noisy.
Oh, okay.
And I just think that's really funny. I'm like, at least here they're sinful. They're just like, we make too much noise.
In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the gods were like, get rid of the humans because they're annoying.
Noisy. Yeah.
They're just like loud.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Exactly. I remember you giggling about this last episode.
Right.
This like really brings you a lot of joy that God wanted to wipe them out for being loud.
I just think that's hysterical.
That is really funny and so simple too.
Yeah.
It really humanizes God.
Truly.
God is like, I created these right. You like adopt an animal and you're like, this animal is really, oh God.
Well, even this one, he's like, ... blot them out, blot, blot, blot.
No, yeah, literally blot them out. It's some God behavior going on here. But yeah, he literally in Gilgamesh's version is like, these things are too loud.
They're
I'm
too
like,
noisy.
Ugh, like I can't like focus on what I'm trying to do right now. This is a lot.
Exactly.
Like,
he was
I'm
like,
done.
this is too much to handle.
But in this version, they were so sinful.
Exactly.
Except Noah, who was just a righteous man.
Just a righteous, very old man.
A 600-year-old righteous man.
Yes. Well, but his children weren't, as we'll get to that.
I know.
Yeah.
It is so funny how they keep mentioning specific things. Like when it's like there were like the water covering them was 15 cubits deep. And it says a cubit is 18 inches.
Mm-hmm. It's, yeah, I mean, we'll get to that too, because even the shape of...
Why am I was trying to do quick math in my head and it was not happening.
Even the shape of the ark, like there's a location, and I was going to talk about it in a minute, but there's a location that a lot of like creationists are like, that's the location of the ark. And there is some interesting stuff around it because it lands, it says where they land on Mount, in the mountains
eventually,
of Ararat. But we'll talk about that in a second. Though. Yeah.
So the water, it's 18 cubits deep, which is 15 cubits deep, which is 18 inches. So 18 times 15, it comes out to 22 feet.
Okay.
High. That's how high the water was.
Gotcha.
So Noah on the ark had a giant measuring stick, and he was like checking the depth of the water.
Exactly. Who measured this? You know, the T-Rexes who weren't allowed on.
Yeah.
They said, "Well." It looks like it's 22 feet.
I'm definitely cutting that. I can't be associated with whatever you just did.
A lot of people think, a lot of Christians think that, this is not what I was taught, but a lot of Christians think that the flood wiped out the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think I was taught that too.
Yeah. So they weren't a part of the pairs, 2 or 7.
Damn.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Well, I don't think that.
They were too noisy.
They were too noisy.
Okay, really, really specific statistics. It says it rained for 40 days, but the waters actually prevailed for 150 days, which my contrarian mind is like, okay, or my like, I almost said Antichrist mind. Devil's advocate is like, well, maybe the waters were coming out of the earth, like it said. They're just like pipes were bursting like Old Faithful or something like that.
Except it says it rained for 40 days.
And then, yeah, it's exactly 22 feet deep. And it's flooding. Okay. The flood subsides, chapter 8. But God remembered Noah.
I love that he almost forgot. You know, he's the one man that he saved. And it's like, God remembered Noah. And he's like, well, how could you forget him? You know, you just killed everyone except him, right?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me that he's like, I am like really bored with this project, but like there's one guy that like I kind of like.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, okay, all right, I'm going to kill everyone. And I kind of like these animals.
Right.
I don't like the dinosaurs.
Right.
We're killing. Yeah.
He lands on the mountain and he's like.
So he's like, fine. Like Noah can live, but the rest are dying.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah. I feel like that about some people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 8, the flood subsides. But God remembered Noah and all the beasts and the livestock that were there with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained, and the water receded from the earth continually. At the end of 150 days, the water had abated. And in the 7th, I abated twice last night. Just kidding. I don't. Okay, you were supposed to laugh at that.
I just had a shocked face.
No, everyone hated that. I don't know what abated means. Abated?
I want to say that means like dismissed, but that could be totally wrong. I don't even. I disassociated for a minute. My bad.
It's so embarrassing that I tried to make a joke and no one liked it.
I laughed internally.
I laughed.
Yeah, I remembered to laugh. Like God,
you literally didn't laugh because I can hear if you're laughing. No one laughed.
Internally.
Like, you guys are both like, we both laugh, but like we're literally recording and we can go back and see that no one laughed.
You'll see my face. I went.
That's not a laugh. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat.
Ararat.
Yeah.
That's a way to pronounce it.
What is it? Ararat?
I think it's usually Ararat.
Ararat. But that sounds like a southern pronunciation.
It is. I mean, you still, if you're
like the ancient Greek, the correct pronunciation is Ararat.
No, Ararat. No, I think it's like if you roll your R's.
Ararat.
Yeah, a little closer.
Ararat.
Yeah.
It's pronounced Ararat.
Ararat.
And the waters continued. The waters continued to abate until we really got to figure out what abate means.
Abate.
This word is huge in the baiting community. And the waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen.
Right.
So the waters were 22 feet high, and now the tops of the mountains were seen. Like, why did they tell us that the waters were... No mountain is only 22 feet high. You know what I mean? Like, why tell us that the waters are 22 feet high? And then right after that, they're like, finally, we could see the tops of the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you have, like, why bother saying that?
I don't know. I mean, there's also a lot of, I mean, my opinion is I think that there was some actual flooding in that area of the world where a lot of these stories stem from. So I don't think the whole world flooded, but there's so many flood stories that I think that there is some element of truth. I'm not saying any of it's not true other than the 20. I just don't understand why you, as like a historical record, would be like, by the way, the waters were 22 feet high. And then the next paragraph, you're like, yeah, they covered the mountains. Right. I'm like, did you all have some short ass mountains? I think they just probably want to make the point that they land on the
mountain of
Ararat. Mount Ararat.
I have the definition.
Oh,
of abate.
Abated, abating, to decrease in force or intensity.
Okay.
Oh, so it subside. Is what you did last night.
To decrease in force or
intensity.
Yeah.
To become defeated or become null or void.
And that's what I did last night.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've definitely been abating the last few days.
Right. Okay. Did he send the bird out yet?
No, at the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark, and he had made and sent forth a raven.
Right. So, and in the Epic of Gilgamesh, he sends, wait, where'd he go? Oh, first he sends a dove, and then he sends a swallow, and then he sends a raven, and that doesn't return because the waters have receded.
Interesting. So in this version, Noah, I don't understand why they mentioned the raven. It says after 40 days, hadn't it been 150 days?
Yes. Yeah. But 40 days was when it stopped raining.
Oh my God. Okay. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent forth a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot. And the dove is a girl, by the way.
But see, do you see the point, though, is like the Epic of Gilgamesh that the writers based this on, I think, scholars think, they just flipped that. So it's like he sends the dove first, then he sends a swallow, or he sends a swallow first, then the dove, then the raven. And in this one, they just like flip who goes for the birds. Right.
It's also interesting because like ravens are like a symbol of like death, and they're very ominous, wouldn't you say?
They have gone back and forth. They like sometimes they're a good sign, sometimes they're a bad sign.
I mean, I'm just thinking of like Edgar Allan Poe, which is so much later than this, but and then a dove is like such a symbol of like peace and tranquility. So I wonder what was going on at the time where they're like, let's have the dove be the one that brings back the olive tree.
That's true.
Then he sent forth a dove to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waves were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and brought her into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark, and the dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the first month of the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry.
He said, we landed.
In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried out. Then God said to Noah, go out from the ark, you and your wife and your sons with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may swarm on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wives and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves on the earth went out by families from the ark. Wow.
Well,
I'm just imagining like that boat is so full of shit. and like they open the door. I'm just trying to practically imagine what was going on here. Like it must have smelled horrendous. And they open this door and everything is just like rushing out. And you have like literal like lions and like then like a chihuahua no dinosaurs.
A chihuahua.
I don't know why it's giving chihuahua. It's giving chihuahua.
And as soon as they exit, all the animals just start fighting and eating each other. And
yeah, it seems like it would be a damn mess.
maybe that's why they had the 7 pairs in one version.
Why?
Because they know some of them are going to kill each other, right?
Oh, as backup.
Just in case.
Yeah, and some of them were gay.
Some of them were definitely gay.
So they had to have multiple pairs.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they can't reproduce, and that's all that matters.
At this point in time, that's all that matters.
Well, yeah. When all humanity was wiped out, I guess.
Yeah, you ain't got time to be gay when you on Noah's Ark.
That's true. That's true.
We gotta repopulate. Yeah.
Exactly.
Then you got to be homophobic when you're on Noah's Ark.
You do. Until the rainbow comes, and then you know.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll get there. It's the rainbow.
Okay.
That they believe that the gays stole from them.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. The flood has ended. All the animals were out. God's covenant with Noah. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took out every clean animal and some of every clean bird. Why does they say some of every clean bird?
I don't know.
And offered burnt offerings at the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, and the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man. For the intention of, tell that to the LA wildfires. I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. I hated that.
I know.
Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains seed time, and harvest cold, and heat summer, and winter's day and night shall not cease. Okay. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered.
Right. Because we're in charge of the animals. Just like Adam. You know how he said, like, Adam?
Yeah. It's a very similar sentiment. He's really restarting.
Are you done with this chapter yet?
We're just starting chapter 9. Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk real quick? Because I think it's fun for people to look up. There is a location it's not on Mount Ararat, because Ararat is a stretch of mountainous region, but there are a lot of like Christian researchers who there is a structure that matches almost the exact dimensions. While most people think it's not Noah's Ark, there was a lot of people who do think it is Noah's Ark. All that to be said, they've done testing on it and stuff. But they just recently, and there were like one guy came and he was like, this is petrified wood. And then they tested it. It was just rock. It is a very interesting looking formation though. And
you're saying like there's like an imprint in the mountains in Ararat that fits the exact size of Noah's Ark.
Correct. And actually Josephus, who was a historian, right after about 37 to 100 years after the time of Jesus, he wrote down how people would go on pilgrimages to Noah's Ark, and they would get pieces of the wood and wear it as like protective pieces. So this is thousands of years later. He was saying people were going to pilgrimages there, and they talk about it in the Quran as well. But that's
cool.
A different stretch of mountain range. But it's the same area that even in the Epic of Gilgamesh, they say they landed. So 2 different areas, generally the same area. But it's called the if you just look up like real Noah's Ark, you'll see a picture of it, even though it most likely is not the real Noah's Ark. But they just did scans over it too, like
recently,
just very recently they did scans.
Where is Ararat?
In Turkey.
In Turkey, where I'm getting my hair transplant.
It was it's called like the Dunapar structure or something like that. Dunapar structure. But they just did scans over it very recently, and they did find like tunnels and things going through. So, which could be natural, or it could be a man-made structure that's not a boat, because there's so much old stuff like that in Turkey already. But it is interesting that we have historians that say that people did pilgrimages to Noah's Ark specifically thousands of years later. So just fun things to think about.
Yeah, I also didn't know that like God, like humanity 2.0 started in Turkey.
That's a good point. It wasn't Turkey then. I think it was technically Armenia, or like...
Yikes. Okay. I'm not
Um,
going into that debate.
Yeah.
But okay, present day Turkey though.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
Durupinar, Durupinar formation.
Durupinar
Formation. And it's on Mount Ararat.
Cool. I want to go.
I know, it'd be cool. It would be cool to go.
Key Bible study field trip to Turkey.
Right. But that's
Sponsored
not where
by
they
Turkey
did the
Airlines.
pilgrimages, though. That's the sort of controversy, because that's like more of like a modern, people are like, that's the place because it fits the length and the width and all of that. But the pilgrimage was about like 200 miles away in a different location where, I don't know, because they mentioned a different mountain range.
Okay.
But so lots of interesting stuff happening there for sure.
I'm sorry to clarify. That Mount Ararat does not have the imprint of the Ark. That's a different mountain 200 miles away.
No, it's a little messy because Mount Ararat is a stretch of mountain.
Okay.
So within that stretch goes a long ways. So the imprint that's basically since like 1948, people have been like, that's Noah's Ark. If you just Google like real Noah's Ark, that's what you'll see. But that is the documentation from Josephus talking about people who are going on pilgrimages to see Noah's Ark and got wood from Noah's Ark is in a different area that's about 200 miles away.
Where there was not an imprint.
Not that it has been researched, at least. Not that we know of, but people were going there. But also, it could be the same location, possibly because names get shifted around so easily when it's the same general area. So, I mean, you're talking about like 2,000 years between us and Josephus, and you're talking about like 2,000 or 3,000 years between Josephus and this event.
Right.
So, a lot can get.
And it gets windy.
And it gets windy.
Maybe things got blown away over 2,000 years.
Could be.
Lots of wood blowing away. Okay. So we're in chapter 9, and God is saying, like, okay, man, basically you get like all the animals and all the birds. You're in charge of all that. And then it says, but you shall, it gets weird here, but you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. And for your lifeblood, this is so weird. Mm-hmm. It's freaking me out.
But this is the first time they're allowed to eat meat, right? Because in the garden, they didn't eat meat.
Oh, it was all fruits and vegetables.
Right.
So they started out like kind of vegan.
Right. When this is like where you just have to drain the blood.
Oh, I don't like that. Okay. So this is the first. Okay. But that's what kosher is?
I don't know if that's exactly what kosher is.
I'm whispering.
Is that kosher?
I'm scared.
That's halal.
Halal, yeah. Because I know in the Middle East, they drain all the blood.
Yeah. Halal is when you drain the blood. I don't think they drain the blood in kosher. I think kosher... It may have to be prepared a certain way, but I think it mostly is important that it's blessed by a rabbi.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
The halal is where you drain the blood.
I see. Okay, yeah.
Can you not drain the blood on pork?
Well, no, I think...
Or pork was just banned.
I think pork was banned, and I think it makes sense why. But that's definitely later. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Chapter 9, verse 4, but you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. And for your lifeblood, I will require a reckoning from every beast. I will require it, and from man. From his fellow man, I will require a reckoning for the life of man. I don't know what he's saying. And then he says, it's a quote, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. And you be fruitful and multiply, teem on the earth and multiply in it. Then God's, so this is like this in the New Testament, when Jesus is like, turn the other cheek, this is like a sort of a direct rebuttal of this. Maybe this is like an earliest version of that.
Well, sure. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about what
he's saying. If you kill someone, then you get killed.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're doing some weird blood thing. There's so much in the Old Testament that has to do with blood.
Well, because they used to say like later on, they'll say like a hand for a hand, a
an eye for an eye,
an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. You know,
whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed.
Right.
This is freaking me out. Also, the way it's worded, like this is the most confusing sentence I've ever read. And for your lifeblood, I will require a reckoning from every beast. I will require it, and from man, from his fellow man, I will requiring a reckoning for the life of man. What the hell does that mean?
I mean, they're just basing it on an older story and then trying to apply it.
Like this is an oral tradition, and someone felt like they needed to keep saying that sentence.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, couldn't someone have like telephoned it and just been like, hey, let's like make this sentence a little more efficient.
Right.
It's a lot.
And multiple authors over time, you know, so it's like, I don't know what's happening.
I'm just like, you could have done some paraphrasing there. It's not very reader friendly. I'm struggling for my life over here trying to get through.
But you should you should ask to speak to a manager.
Yeah.
You should ask for
there needs a rewrite for sure. That was not gonna, they need an editor.
Right.
Okay, verse 8. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you. You already said this, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. Yet you already said this. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature. This is with you for all the future generations. I've set my bow, wink, wink, rainbow, in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. By the way, this is God saying this.
Right. But rainbow, but it's Qeshet is a weapon. So they believed that it was like symbolic of him, like, you know, basically like that's the type of weapon it is, like a bow and arrow, and the bow is basically like him putting it down, pointing it away from.
Oh, that's so cool.
Earth. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah. So the shape of a rainbow is also like the shape of a bow. From like
I'm not sure
bow
how to
and
say
arrow
Quishet.
Facing down. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I think so too.
It's so funny in this where God is like, I'm putting the rainbow there just so like I remember not to like kill all of you guys again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I just want to remember that, so I'm just gonna like every time like there's rain, like I'm putting the bow down and then I'll like remember not to murder all of your families.
Exactly.
Like,
and everything.
I'm just gonna do that just so I remember
everything on Earth.
Yeah.
Again.
I just don't want to accidentally blot you guys out again.
Yeah, I'll blot a lot of other things out as time goes on, but I'm not gonna blot everything.
It's like the rainbow was like a post-it note for God to be like, remember not to kill all humanity.
Just don't do it all. Just not all of it. Right. A note.
Cute.
Yeah. So that's
I will remember my covenant. This is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth.
And in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the monster Tiamat with his bow and the high god Anu lifts that bow up and sets it in the heaven after the flood. And
was Tiamat in the Epic of Gilgamesh like an archer god or something?
No, it's I think Tiamat is the water god.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this stuff is so clearly
stolen.
Like these gods that people created to like understand mythology or whatever, it makes so much sense if you saw like a rainbow and you would be like, oh, this is like an upside down bow.
For sure.
And this comes from like a god who has like a warrior god who has like an archery. You know, you're trying to make sense of your surroundings.
Well, and Tiamat, being just like at the beginning of this, how everything, it's just nothing but water. Remember, the very first thing we talk about is like God hovers over the waters.
Yeah.
You know, so many creation stories start as just like water. So I think I sort of think some of the flood stories might actually come first. And then it's sort of like the afterword is like the new beginning, like what you're talking about with Noah's family and stuff, is like really where a lot of stories begin. So they're kind of like swapped.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Now let's get to the
last verse of this section says, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all the flesh that is on the earth." Yeah, you said that about 14 times. Okay, Noah's descendants. This is when it gets really juicy.
Yeah, that's one way to put it for sure.
The sons of Noah who went... Do you know what's about to happen, Anya?
No, but I can't wait.
It's funny how short this section is and how much is read into it.
Right. And it gets twisted.
Noah's descendants. Did he bring a wife?
Girl, what have you not been listening?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
There's so much.
His
There's
sons,
so much.
so he brought his wife, his sons.
He did bring his wife.
And the sons' wives.
They gotta be fucking.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're reproducing.
No, of course he brought a wife.
Right.
He left the trade
Right.
on Earth. He said, I gotta go back to my
He said,
wife.
it's been 600 years.
Yeah, it's 600 years. I gotta quit this gay
Still
shit.
fertile.
Yeah.
Me and all the straight animals are
Right.
getting on the boat.
Yeah. Only the straights.
I have to go back to my wife. He left Akbar and he was like, I gotta go back to her. The trade was left, swallowed up by the ocean.
Wait, is this oh my god. The three guys?
Ham, Shem, and
Ham,
Japheth.
Shem,
Ham, Shem, and
Japheth,
Japheth,
yes.
Yeah, we talked
These
about this
guys.
on the pod
We
with
did.
Yes.
Skylar.
Okay, no, I'm in.
Okay, damn, she's educated.
I know. Look at that.
The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the people of the whole earth were dispersed. Well, duh, they're the only people on earth.
Right.
Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. Noah became a man of the soil. Okay, he drank. Oh, this is okay. Here we go.
On Mount Ararat.
He drank of the wine and became. It's fine. This is where it all goes down. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside.
Right.
Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both of their shoulders, and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backwards, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died.
Damn. That's an old man.
That's an old-ass man. So Noah was only 10 years younger than Methuselah.
Right. Right.
Because Methuselah was the oldest guy who lived to 960.
And couple things. First off, that is, and I think we talked about this at some point, but saw his nakedness is a sexual euphemism. How do you say that word? Euphemism. That is referenced in other places, in other literature, but also in like Leviticus 18 and 20. But it could mean a couple of different things.
Okay, this is like massive. Like there are
Yes.
so many debates that go on around this section. So what just happened was, from what we read from this, is that Noah gets drunk off his ass and is passed out naked. He has 3 sons. The youngest son, Ham,
does something.
sees his dad naked and something happens.
Right.
And then he tells his older brothers, and the older brothers respectfully put a blanket over their dad.
I was always taught like he was making fun of him, that he was naked, and that was it.
That's what I was told.
Like, saw his nakedness, his father's nakedness is a very specific term, which is basically either they think that his son assaulted him, or they did something together, or he like castrated him, circumcised him, his father.
They're interpreting all that from the term saw his nakedness?
Well, because that term is used other places it's specifically a sexual reference or a sexually violent reference.
The way that it's worded is... Okay, so there was... Either way, Noah was drunk off his ass.
Yeah. So I have it written down. It says...
I keep saying that really expecting a reaction.
It was more... Yeah, so it was more than an accidental glimpse. Readings range from paternal sexual assault to maternal incest to...
maternal incest?
Yeah.
Why would it say maternal?
I don't know if he was... I remember reading about this, that he possibly, while his father was drunk, possibly slept with his own mother, like in front of his father. That's like another possibility. So it's like, there's a lot of references that fall under like saw his father's nakedness. There's a lot of possibility there. But most likely it's not just him laughing at his drunk dad.
Gotcha. Which honestly, from what we read in the Bible, would not, apparently God killed all of civilization because they were too loud.
Right. And he cursed him for, such like the way he curses him is intense that I'm like, I think it was probably a little more than him just like laughing at his father, but possibly.
Yes, but also crazier things happen in the Bible for less.
That's true.
You bite an apple and like you lose eternal life.
Well, and the curse of Ham, just like the curse of Cain, was used to many times to justify slavery, to justify.
So this is like a very, very pivotal moment in the Bible where like these are the only humans on earth. Mm-hmm. There's Noah and he has his 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Mm-hmm. Ham did something to his father or had sex with his mom. Mm-hmm. We don't know. Something went down while his father, Noah, was drunk off his ass.
Right. Because he's a man of the land now.
And he's been planting wine and he drank the wine, which honestly, that's pretty cool to drink your own wine.
That is cool. What else are you going to do?
So then Ham did something. And so all the descendants of Ham are cursed.
Correct.
And then Shem and Japheth, their descendants are blessed.
Correct.
And this is where it gets really, really dicey.
Right.
I talked about this on a different podcast, but like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. Like, I was taught that this is like why. Yeah, I was taught that this is why slavery happened.
You were taught that that's like what you were taught.
I don't even know how to word this properly.
Well, that was a justification. That is what a lot of slave owners use.
Literally, when I was a kid, someone told me that bad things happened to black people because of what Ham did. Well, and they said Ham was the I'm whispering into a recorded podcast. This is just what I was taught. I don't think this is true, but it's a weird justification. But like when I was a kid, it was like, AIDS in Africa. And it was like Ham went south. Like basically the descendants spread out. So it was like basically like Shem went to the west, Japheth went to the east, and Ham went south. And it was like, that's why there's all these problems in Africa is because of this incident that happened and all of his descendants were cursed.
Yeah, people have definitely used
that's what I was taught when I was a child. I don't agree with that. It seems really racist and weird. I feel like I'm not even allowed to say that.
No, that's what I was saying as well. Like,
are you mad at me for saying that?
I'm not mad at you for saying that. I think it is definitively racist. And
okay.
I'm surprised.
I just feel like I'm not even allowed to say that.
I wasn't taught that. I wasn't ever taught that specifically myself. I've just from reading about it, I've learned that especially during periods when people were being enslaved, that was used to be like, it's okay. They're
descendants of Canaan.
Yeah. of ham.
Ham.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys how you feel about that now as adults, like growing up, like having grown up with that being the way that you were taught, like with like how you feel about those institutions now?
You answer that question. I'm going to look something up because I want to read it that is going to answer.
There's multiple things in my childhood that I was taught that I just like accepted point blank, that when I grew up and like became more socially aware, like kind of horrified me and made me like question my whole existence. This was definitely one of them. Like it really rocked me to my core, where I was like, I think it's a way to like take away empathy because there's a reason for someone experiencing pain. Like what you're saying, where people would be like, oh, that's just like, you know, bad thing. Literally, like the way it was explained to me, it's like, oh, bad things happen to Black people because they were descendants of Ham.
Right.
And so it's a way to kind of dismiss like any, like, I don't know, it's a way to dismiss any like social responsibility in a way that is like so disturbing, because it was like I was sort of indoctrinated as a child to believe these like weird ideas. So then I think I had to kind of go back and be like, holy shit, how is this informed like every way that I've,
for sure,
I don't know, behaved or thought, you know? I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a.
There were weird things too, though. But also, like, I grew up in Indonesia, and like my parents were missionaries there, and like a lot of my teachers at my school were like Republicans from Alaska. And they were like really big into Sarah Palin. I promise this has a through line. But they would like say things like, yeah, like after segregation ended, like in the 60s, like racism ended in America. And I would just be like, oh, okay, like racism doesn't exist in America anymore. And I like moved to America, and then I like very quickly learned that was not true.
Yeah.
But like these were just like weird, like when you're taught things as a child, you just kind of don't. I didn't really even know how to question things.
I knew that was like the thing about Ham, that was something that was taught. I just didn't know that it was something that was still taught. I really thought that was like such an outdated idea that people used back in the day.
Oh, I'm sure it's still taught.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is it is on topic, but it's one of my favorite Frederick Douglass quotes. And I read this a long time ago, and I just don't want to misquote it. But he said in this letter, he wrote, "I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, partial, and hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I can see no reason but the most deceitful one for calling the religion of this land Christianity. I look upon it as the climax of all misnomers, the boldest of all frauds, and the grossest of all libels. Never was there a clearer case of stealing the livery of the court of heaven to serve the devil in." And I just always think about the manipulation of religion for power's sake.
Yeah.
And I think that quote is like, there's so many great things in here and horrible things, you know, but there is there's a spiritual journey for anybody. There's a lot of peace to be found, and a lot of, like the teachings of Jesus are so applicable worldwide, but people who want power will always use religion to manipulate and abuse people.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that that's what they're doing with it.
Right.
They don't even realize that they are manipulating power.
Yeah.
They're just like using these things that they're taught and passing them down and like.
Right. Yeah. But it's their responsibility to challenge themselves, which is, again, I think a great reason we're doing this. Is like we're challenging our old ideas, but we're also challenging, I think, where we are now to see, what we can learn and think about now, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a really interesting passage. Lots of consequences.
Lots of consequences. And every time I see a rainbow, I don't think about that.
The rainbow thing is really interesting, though.
Right.
It's an upside down bow.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Me too.
I'm going to take that with me.
Me too. To Gay Pride in June?
In just a few. By the time this episode's out, it will be Pride Month. Wow, how serendipitous!
Wow.
How beautiful!
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride! Happy
Pride,
Pride!
guys.
I'm gonna be a rainbow.
Yay!
It's kind of nice to think about it in that context for Pride.
Exactly.
Don't kill these people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Said, I don't want
Hey,
to kill them anymore.
Don't kill these guys.
Yeah.
That is
These
great.
are nice guys.
That's
When
right.
you see the rainbow, God, you promised that you wouldn't kill us all.
Right.
I promise.
Yeah.
Our protector.
Walking down Santa
our
Monica Boulevard.
shield.
I love
The
it.
wrath of God.
Yeah. Remember.
Okay.
Good job.
Good job. Hold my hand. That was really heavy and scary.
That wasn't a deep, dark one.
All
You know,
right.
this is like that painting.
I know. Yeah, it is. All right. We'll see you in heaven.
All right.